Okay, I'm ready to do the playthrough, and here is the close-up of the black player's player aid. This is House Gonzaga, and it shows you the order that you do things. So first, whoever earns this gets 1 victory point. Well, nobody earns it necessarily in the beginning of the game, so we skip that. Then you can pay money, and it shows you the scale here. You can pay money to receive victory points. Well, the black player, as a starting player, has none, and red has 1. Red chooses not to. You do these in player order. So black would go, then red. Then you can either, there's a slash here, you can either get 1 land tile and just hold on to it for future expansion. There is no limit to the number of these that you can have except for the number that is in the stack. Here, you can take a face-up Ventura card for free. Okay? All these cards, no matter if they're the blue Ventura or the green conscripts, you have a limit of 5 of those in your hand. So let's zoom in and do this phase. So drawing a land tile, and you can have as many of those as you want, is free, or drawing one of the face-up cards. Here we have a Captain of Fortune, and I think this is what the black player is going to do. Now, he cannot be put into play without a company. He has to have soldiers to command. But I will hold on to him. This is the recruiting cost, so I would have to pay this much to recruit him. This is, or I'm sorry, to deploy him onto my game board. This is the cost you must pay each round to keep them out in the field fighting, or they'll just give up and go home. And so you can choose to not pay people, but you lose them. But I won't have to pay him when I do put him out. But I'm going to hold on to him. You get a movement bonus and an archery bonus, ranged attack bonus. So black player is going to take him into his hand. Remember, you are limited to 5 of both blue and green combined. You can only have 5 in your hand. We immediately refill the order, which is fine because the red player started with that coin. They will be able to deploy these shieldmen. They were looking at getting these, so they will just take those and we refill the order. Huh, more shieldmen. And I swear I shuffled that deck really well. The next phase would be what they call the recruit phase. So you could now, if you want it, get another card by drawing from here. But if you notice, it has an icon of 2. So just to draw this card at this point would cost you 2. But if you really wanted to bulk up your army fast and you had the income, that would be a way to do that. You can draw a card, pay for it, look at it, and then if you want, you can continue to go. So you can really build up your army at this point. But neither player has the money for that, so we will skip that phase. Now the red player had just purchased these shieldmen. If they had them on their player board, and let's say they had an injury, they can have up to 4 before they are wiped out and discarded. At this time in the game, if they were here on a gray tile that they control, they could for free heal up 1 wound. At any point in the game, you can heal 1 wound on any 1 unit for 1 coin. But you cannot do that, of course, in the middle of the battles. You have to wait until the fighting is completely over, and then you can heal if you want. But at this point in the game, you could heal 1 for free. But no one has taken any injuries, so we don't need to do that. We are going to run through these fairly quickly. Here is where you can buy extra cards. Here you could heal 1 wound if they are on a gray tile. So here you need to see, did you move into a land with one of your armies that has no markers on it? If it did, you can claim that land with domain tokens. Okay, you can do that at this point. If you moved into a region, you defeated the enemy's units that they had there, then you can remove these and you get victory points for each one of those that you were to have removed. So that is one way to earn victory points. But none of that has happened. So now we go to income. Okay, so we're going to calculate the income. Then at the end of income is expansion. If a player had drawn a land tile, they could place it now and expand their territory, but they haven't done that. So let's look at earning some coins. I did this earlier. This is 1 plus 1 for this gray and 1 for this gray. So all you have to do is count the number of domain tokens if you keep up with it throughout the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 7 income for the black player. And red has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also 7. And I will put that on their player board. Okay, no one expanded, so the next phase would be conscriptions. So we would come back over here and repeat the process as we did earlier for the Ventura deck. Starting with the black player, the first player, they could buy this card for 1 coin if they want it. And I think they'll take a chance and do that. You would not show this to the other players, but this is an event card. So at the end of a battle, heal all wounds on a company of your army. Okay. Now, if we are being literal with the wording, which I think we should be, in the rulebook, a company is any card. For instance, the shieldman or the crossbowman. And an army is only when you have several companies under the command of a soldier of fortune. Okay? Or a captain of fortune. So, this can only be used for an army, but that's pretty cool. Now I can choose whether I want to buy another card or stop, and I think the black player is going to stop, and I think the red player is going to choose not to buy any at this time. So after purchasing conscripts would be the deploy phase. You can deploy company cards to your player mat or captains of fortune. Now, I could build an army here, but this guy gives me a nice movement bonus and a range bonus, and I think I want him to be able to move around the board in combat, so I'm not going to be able to play him, and this is not a company, so the black player cannot play any cards at this time. But that red player had bought these shieldmen. I think he is going to put these in his second slot, and we'll have to get the number 2 soldier token on the board. When you first deploy a soldier of fortune, they must start off in your capital city, which is where the garrison is. Or if you already have a company deployed, you can add them to this. Now I can put this here on the 2, and I will get the number 2 soldier to represent a company. But this token must go onto the board in my starting city. So here is red player's number 2. It will go here in their starting city. Then they can move out like normal. If you had 2 tokens that were to meet up in other lands, you could then, if you had a captain of fortune, switch and swap or combine those and just combine this into one big army. But you would need a captain of fortune. But to start off, you always spawn in your capital city and must expand out from there. And we can't forget, this is the initial deployment cost. This will be an upkeep we'll have to play later. So for now, we simply play the 1 coin to activate those shieldmen. Now we come to the troop deployment phase. So let me get the black player's board. We have deployed cards and put the appropriate soldier on the board. If we have an army built, remember that is a captain of fortune with several companies. Then you put the horse icon. Next comes troop deployment. That will be the last step here. And we're going to do that now. Black does not have any troops out. Their garrison will stay garrisoned at the city. But these shieldmen, if you notice, have a movement value of 2. They can spend up to 2 movement. So here we are again back at the board. I'm going to move this to show. because I'm not sure it's showing up good. But there's a 1 there. All the fields are 1s, as well as the papal regions. Okay, so it's a movement cost of 1. So 1, 2. He is now occupying this papal territory with his new shieldman troop. So at the end of the first complete round of play, the board looks something like this. Now, I've pulled this out, so let's slide over here. I'll use the blue one so that I don't have to keep picking up one of the other ones. Once they get armies on them, it'll be harder to mess with. So, we've completed everything. The red player moved into a new territory, so they will be garrisoning that soon. But they did not remove any of the other players' markers. Excuse me. All the fighting is over, so we're going to start back over here. And we must determine the first player. Well, neither player yet has scored any points, so it is tied at 0. So then we look at money, and both players have 6 coins. Now, I could try to do some silly rock, paper, scissors, but I'm going to simply say take the blue tile. This is for the black player. This is for the red player. And red player. So the red player will earn that first player. There's no secondary way to break a tie. It's all based on lowest points, then gold, then all people still tied. You just randomly select. We give that first player card to the red player, and they earn 1 victory point for winning the random draw. That part seems a little weird, but that's fine. Now we move on to here. Do they control any papal regions? Well, actually they do. Let's take a look. So at the end of the first round troop movement, red moved into this papal region. Now, if there had been any black domain tokens there and no armies or conscripts or any kind of units there, military units, then by removing these, he would gain 1 victory point. But there were none. So he is in this region, but he does not control it yet because we have not got to the annex step. So unfortunately, he will not earn 2 victory points for that region this turn. So looking at our player aid, first player points and papal, if you own a papal region which he doesn't own. So then we move here to coins paid for experience points. Now the most you can pay at any at this time would be 5 for 7. Now the red player is 1 point ahead, okay, because they just earn this through the tiebreaker of flipping the tile. So they're going to go ahead. Since they're ahead, they're just going to keep going ahead. They will pay their 5 to earn 7 points, bringing them up to 8. The blue player, the black player, they decided they might want to start getting on the board, but they don't want to spend all their money just yet. So this turn, they're going to spend just 3 coins. So I will break this here. Give them a change of 2, and that will earn them 4 points, bringing the score to 8 to 4. So now we will move to this phase here. Okay, so we finished with the prestige. We're over to the fortune stage, and the red player is the first player this turn. So they can take a land tile or a face-up card for free. So they're looking at these crossbowmen. They want to get these mainly to keep the other player from getting them because they have that Captain of Fortune that will really buff these up. So they will take this and refill the offer. And oh, now we got some marksmen. They're not quite as powerful, but they do have an initial deploy cost of 0. So I think the black player is going to take those. And that is the end of this round's fortune stage. Now we are on to the recruiting phase. Now the red player does not have 2 coins left. They've spent 5 money for points. So they don't have enough coins, so they will skip their turn. But the black player will, in fact, spend 2 coins to just take the top card. Let's see what they got. Spearman. Nice. Nice movement, good melee attack, good defense. And during a battle against heavy cavalry, the spearmen have melee value of 4. Wow. No heavy cavalry have come out yet, but they are expensive to initially deploy. Let's add that to their player card deck. And now, if anyone had any units on gray tiles that were injured, they could heal them for 1, but they do not. So now we go to the Annex Stage. So we look for territories that we can now claim. Now at this point, I want to correct a small mistake I made in the first round. Both players still have 1 coin remaining. Okay, this is why the black player, I did not let him spend an extra coin. And it is coming up here in just a moment. So we are at the Annex Stage. So we look for any terrain in which you have a military unit that you do not currently have domain markers in. Well, there is one. We count up the income that it provides, 1, and we put that many domain markers in it to claim that as his land. Black player did not gain any new territories the first turn. After the Annex Stage, we come to the Income Stage. Okay, and this is the part I forgot to do. I forgot to pay for units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But each of them had a garrison. So in the first round, they both should have spent 1 coin to keep their garrison active. Okay? And that is why I did not let the black player spend an extra coin for victory points. So I corrected that. Now they have the correct amount of money. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The garrison cost 1, so that is an income of 7. And the upkeep of the shieldman is 1, so that is a profit of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the black player. And the only unit they have is the garrison. So that is also a profit of 6. So after the income earning phase, we will go to gaining new territories. If anyone in previous turns had taken a land tile, they could add that to their domain. Now no one has yet. So we go to the conscripts. Now players in player order may purchase conscripts at 1 coin each. The red player again is going to choose not to, but the black player is going to try his luck and pay 1 coin of his 6. Flood. It's an event. Administration. Choose an opponent. That player loses 1 coin, 1 florin, and 1 extra florin if he has a river in his domain, which he does. Ooh, and that's played during the administration phase. So that's pretty cool. He'll hold on to that. And let's see. That has him at his hand limit of 5. So we have the flood card. And last time he got the barber surgeon. And then he got this person, this captain in the first round. Bought the spearman and the marksman. So he cannot get any more cards. It is now time again to mobilize our armies. That means to pay the costs to play new companies, to arrange the appropriate icons on the board, and if they are in the same location, you can move cards around to redeploy. So they will take these crossbowmen and they are going to play them here. We take the appropriate marker. We're going to put this in their starting city. Remember, you must always deploy initially in the city, and they will pay the 1 deployment coin for that. Now we're over here on the black player, and if you notice, those marksmen they have and that Captain of Fortune they picked up both have an initial deployment cost of 0, which is excellent. So the first thing I will do is deploy the marksman here. You must first deploy a company card. So this is currently a small troop, okay? So you would use the little knight icon. But for a cost of 0, I will add him to that company. And then for 2, since I have a leader, I can have up to 5 companies under him. This will cost 2. I will need a change of 3. And I will apply this here. And now this becomes the knight symbol. Oops, and that is the 3, not the 2. This will go on to his starting city location. By playing his captain, he can play multiple companies to form an army. Now, let's take a moment to look at the movement. These units can move 3. These units can only move 2. When they are together, you must take the lowest movement. Then you can look at the bonus from your captain. He gives a +1 move bonus. It's not to each card, although it wouldn't matter because you still must take the lowest one. So instead of 2, this entire army unit will have a movement value of 3, the lowest plus the bonus. So after our deploy and regrouping phase, we move on to troop movement. Okay, this could result in battles at the end of the troop movement, but this is the phase we're in. This is the last step of this round, and we go in player order. Now, the shieldmen have a movement of 2. Okay, and so do these crossbowmen. This is his home garrison unit. I'm going to put it off back here in the corner. But here is the crossbowman. Movement of 1 and a movement of 1. He is going to move in here because this is a gray territory. He'll be able to heal wounds if everyone does not die here. Then this gets a bonus to ranged attack from there. So he is hoping to hold on to this land. Unfortunately, that was where the black player was wanting to move. Will he still do that? I think he's going to actually reconsider and move his army with the movement of 3, 2 into the hills and 1 into the papal. He needs to not give up this region to the red player, because then he will have all of those victory points in the next upcoming rounds. So to prevent him from doing that, he's going to move in there. That ends the troop movement. There were no battles. He could move this in here if he wanted and start a fight, or try to move in here, but he does not want to do that, and the back player does not have another company or army that he is able to move, because this must always stay garrisoned at the city. So that's going to end that phase, and there's no resulting battles, so let's move on. So just like that quick, we are ready to start the third round. So we go back to determining first player marker. Well, the back player is behind 4 points to 8, so they become the first player and earn a victory point, sliding them up to 5. They call this the prestige step or something like that, but that's not super important, although having the words written here might be nice, because some cards do relate to them. Here, the red player still has 5 coins and is going to be earning a good amount of income. They will go ahead and spend the max 5 for 7 more points. They were at 8, they are now at 15, and they are halfway to victory that quickly. The black player only has 3 coins, but they will also go ahead and spend all 3 coins to earn 4 victory points, and that brings them up to 9. Now we look at papal regions. Black is claiming control of this territory, but they do not yet own it. That is during the annex step. But the red player does, and since they own this, they will score 2 more points, moving them from 15 to 17. And that is why the black player decided to move his army into there rather than contesting here. After the prestige is the fortune step. And there is a captain of fortune out here. The black player could take one of these for free or this. They're going to change tactics a little bit, and they're going to take one of these and add it to their hand. Let's see what they got. They got some heals. So good for only 1 coin, but it is defensible for ranged attack. They'll just put that on their player board, and there's no limit to these, the number of these. Now, the red player, although he is not possibly the best for their situation, he will work. They will go ahead and take this card. Then, starting with the black player, he could buy another card, and then the red player, but both are out of money, so we skip that phase. Let's go to the next step where we heal. Here is the recovery phase. If you're on a gray towel, you can remove 1 wound marker, but no one has battled, no one is injured, so we can skip that as well. And now we come to the annex stage. This is where we can claim territories. So red will claim this territory, and as of now, it gets 1 token or 1 coin income plus 1 for each green. See, this is a green hex around this coin icon. There are no green forests around it, so for now it is just 1. The black player, the same here with the papal region. He will claim this region for 1. And now we go on to the income phase. So let's look really fast. I'll put them here. Upkeep of 1, 2, 3 plus the garrison. He has an upkeep of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will pay for his units. So he gets an earning of 1, 2, 3, 4. Not so great this turn. If I can grab them, we'll put those on his player board. The red player. All garrison cards have the 1 upkeep. They have the shieldman and the crossbowman. So they have a total upkeep cost for their units of 3. 1, 2, 3. That will take care of all their units, so they earn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 money. They are looking pretty good at this point. So this is called the administration phase, and I really wish they would have written it up there or something or down here. It's not a huge deal though, because you're dealing with claiming lands to earn income. So you know you're dealing with money. But the reason it would help is the black player has this card here that is played during the administration phase. Let's see if I can get that in focus. There we are. Now, since this card deals with income, you might be able to remember that that is during the income part of the game. But I choose an opponent. That player loses 1 florin and 1 extra florin if he has a river in his domain. Well, we see here he does have a river in his domain, so I will have to make him change. And he went from 6 to 4. And that card is now discarded. We'll just put it over here beside the deck. And now we're on to the expansion phase or expansion step. So if we remember, the black player decided to draw a terrain tile. Now the placement rule still applies that it must touch at least 2 other tiles. But this and this would not be legal because the new tile must go beside your existing domains. And I wouldn't want it near the opponent anyway. So let's place it here. It's touching 2 tiles, and at least one of them is in my domain, and you immediately get to claim it as yours. I'll put the 1 token on there. Did not earn the income for it this round, but we will in future rounds. After expansion again is the Conscription Phase, and I think both players are going to choose to skip that phase this round. So then we go again to the deployment phase. This is where we can deploy and regroup any existing units that are on the same tiles and then put the appropriate markers out there. Now during the fortune phase, the black player chose to choose a land tile, has no cards to deploy. They will not do this. And the red player has a captain. Now remember, captains must be deployed first into your city. So I could attach it to this garrison for now because it has a 0 upkeep. I don't have to pay for it. I can go ahead and get him out on the table. Then if I bring another unit in here, I can attach him to that unit and take him off of the garrison. But it doesn't really matter. I might as well just wait and do it all at once. So neither player will be deploying any new companies or captains. Now we're ready for the troop movement phase, which could result in a battle, and I think this time we will have a battle. The black player is behind. The score is 17-9. So they are going to march their army into here to where this unit is and attack that papal region. So a battle will immediately commence before the red player gets to move one of their units. Let's see how this works. So here I have the blue player's player board that I've been using to help. And when a battle would ensue, this is two-sided, doesn't really matter, you would actually just cover this up. And this would be the battle board. And each player would get one. So you grab all the cards from the units that are engaging. The black player is using their army. So they have all of these cards. The red player only has the crossbowmen. So there is no mixing up or shuffling. They can't hide anything. This simply goes on the one space there for battle. Then here you would normally get to hide these from your opponent and put them in any order you want. But it's not going to be super big for us to do that and hide it from you. So let's take a look at the cards and see what we're going to do. Now since units that you deploy must start in your city, you could have 2 or 3 different, you could have a marker from 5 and a marker from 3 in the same land tile where you were trying to combine the units and move them around. So there could be multiple battles, but in this case it won't be. Now, I have a captain, and he will go here. There's an orange banner-like symbol. He will apply his bonus. Then I get to decide who I want to go first, because basically they are going to take all the early damage. So which unit do I want to lose? Let's go ahead and stick them first, these second. Now, they are at the top of the board. This is orange, these are yellow, and these are mainly uncolored. These are like reserve units. These yellow units during the first part of battle only will be ranged. Then we go to melee. Let's take a look. So here is one of the papal region tiles. If you notice, there is no bonus for ranged, no bonus for melee, and no bonus for defense. The only person that would get these bonuses in combat is whoever owns this tile with domain tokens. You must have domain tokens on it to get these bonuses. But they don't provide any, so the red player will not get any bonuses. I have set my cards up. Here, I get 1 bonus attack for ranged. And I have a ranged attack of 2. So, First is ranged combat. They will deal 3 combat ranged damage, and the damage always goes, I've pulled this out, you put it on the first unit first until it dies, then anything that carries over goes to the second unit, and if there's extra, you stop. This is yellow, this is white, so all the damage would stop here, okay? Think of like arrows flying through the sky, through the air or something like that. So 3 damage, 1, 2, 3. I will deal my range damage, which is 2 plus 1, 1, 2, 3, and that is the ranged combat round. Now we would resolve damage, clean up, and go into the melee combat. Well, this spearmen have a defense of 3. Once it reaches 0, as soon as it reaches 0, not when it reaches -1. So these spearmen are dead, they will just be discarded, as are the crossbowmen. So we resolve that. Then, if you saw the arrows earlier, these marksmen will move down to here and become the first unit, and anything that was down here would move up into combat range. He is out of units. I still have these. I won the combat, or the black player did. When the red player looks at his board, he has some shieldmen which have great defense, but they only have 1 attack. Now, the black player's remaining units in the army, plus 1, so it's 3 ranged attack, which would bring that down to 1, and then 1 melee attack, which would kill off this unit, and this unit would only do 1 damage to him. So the red player chooses to not move that unit in and try to contest that area. Unfortunately, they just lost it. So it would be the red player's turn. They have this company here, but they decided it would be pointless to move in and contest this region. They want to leave themselves somewhat defensive and just stay out of combat, so they've passed, and that ends this game round, which means we would go back to, again, determining first player. Well, the current score is 17-10, so the black player will remain first player and gain 1 victory point for that. And then we go to paying for victory points. Well, the red player has 4 coins, but they just lost some land. They're going to keep risking it and just spend everything they have and get 5 points. And that brings them to 22. Very close. The black player, not wanting to be left behind, or will also pay 4 and gain 5 victory points. So the score is 22-16. So now we go to the fortune phase. Oh, I'm sorry, Annex. Or I'm not Annex, but Papal. Red no longer controls a Papal, but black does. So they gain 2 points for this, bringing them up to 18. Now we go to the fortune step. So once again in the fortune stage, here we are. The black player gets to go first. Now they know that the red player is close to winning. They want to get some money, try to maybe take back that land. Maybe they can get these shieldmen deployed, march them over to join that army. Maybe. So he's going to go ahead and draw them into his hand. We refill this. And now, light cavalry, movement 4. This plays perfectly into the red player's hand. They were honestly thinking about taking a land tile and just earning more income to buy out the game. But they're going to go ahead and take the light cavalry. That sounds like a good option. So here's some arquebusers. So, riflemen. Alright. Now, next would be the Ventura card phase, but neither player has any gold, so they skip that. And then would be the unit healing, the recovery phase, but no units are left with injuries. All the units took injuries and were discarded. They were eliminated, and no other armies took any, or no other companies took any wounds. So now we go to the Annex and the Income phase. So let's take a look again. Black player is standing here all alone. They get to add a marker. Now, looking at all the cards they have, one for their captain, one for their marksman, and one for the garrison. The shieldmen also have an upkeep, but remember, they just drew this. These are not deployed, so they do not have to pay this cost at this time. So, minus these three, they're going to keep all their units in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 income this turn. There we go. Red player, now they only have a garrison and those shieldmen in play. So, they will pay for everything. Here's 2, so we'll just cover those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 income for the red player. There we are. Neither player can expand their territory at this time. They don't have any tiles. So we move to the Conscription Phase. Now, the black player decided they want to hold on to their money, try to get ahead in the money game, but the red player decides they want to spend some money. So they will pay 1 and draw a card. Event. This is during the troop movement phase. Okay, so it's battle phase. In a battle involving your army before the first assault, before ranged assault, you may pay 4 florins to remove the opponent's captain of fortune from the game. Wow, that is impressive. But in a battle involving your army, right now the red player does not have an army. But this card could be pretty cool. Now they decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and try again and get a change of 4 and buy another one. And it's another event. Choose a captain of fortune in play. No more companies can be added to his army, and the territory occupied by his army has an income value of 0 during the administration phase. Discard this card when the captain of fortune leaves the game. Oh, and this is played during the Ventura Phase, which is just passed. Wow. So this card that the red player got says Ventura, and this is considered the Ventura Phase. So it has passed. Unfortunately, they can't play it this turn. But all of this is considered the Ventura Phase. So I really do wish that they had maybe labeled those just for the ease of card play. And for instance, this one that says Troop. Okay, you know it says in a battle, so you know it's going to come in the battle phase. So this is the Troop Phase. But we are done with the Conscription Phase, and we go to the Deploy and Regroup phase, or step. So the black player, the Gonzaga family, will play the Shieldman, so that cost 1 to deploy, and then I grab the little knight icon with the number 3. This will start in my home territory, my castle. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're blue or green, you have a hand limit of 5, and the red player has 4. So, if we look here, the light cavalry has a deployment of 2, and their captain a deployment of 1, and the cavalry has a movement of 4, and the captain has a movement of bonus plus 1, so they will have a movement of 5. Wow, that will get them into the battle quickly. We will do this to pay for those. This is number 3, okay? But there's just 1 unit there. We will go ahead and use the knight icon here, number 3. And looking back, I think I mixed up these 2 units earlier during the battle. I think I'd grabbed the wrong number off of the board, but I can't go back and fix that now, so we'll just leave it like this. This is that new company spawning there, the light cavalry. So now it's on to the troop movement phase. Now, I am upset with myself for not catching this. I think I may in the future end up painting the numbers on these so they really pop, so that it's much easier just to look down and make sure you grab the cards from the correct section. And of course, with multiple people, you can help each other watch out for that. This was a defensive unit, or should have been, so they would have taken less damage. Then he might would have moved in with his bowman and taken that out. I don't know. The battle would have gone differently. I'm not going to try to rewind and fix that. I just want to show a playthrough of the game. So I am sorry for that mistake. So to kind of correct that blunder, I'm not going to allow him to move in here and wipe this unit out. I will first do what I had intended to do anyway. I will take the number 3 with a movement of 2 and start moving him this way to try and get down there and group up with this unit. Now, I'm going to, this is a 3 cost, the lake. I can't move there. This would gonna move this way, just like if I was going to connect up with that unit there. So that will be his first turn. Now it is the red player's turn. They can move one of their units. Well, they have that new unit of light cavalry with a captain with a movement of 5. They will easily get here. So in this phase, the phase that has just passed, I could swallow this company up and put them under his command and just remove this from the board. But I cannot do that at this time. So if I were to do combat, they would choose which one they fight with first. If they are completely defeated, then you switch to the other. Okay? Now, if you look at this icon, it shows you the blue player moving an army and a company. So each player moves all of their units. That way it helps you not forget whether or not you've moved one. So, like I said, instead of attacking there, kind of make up for that, I'm not going to attack with him. Let's let him move, be defensive. This unit's going to move around to start trying to join them in the future. This one has moved here to join up. So we are done with that phase, and we go back to the beginning. The next round, we go to first player. The black player has 18 points, and the red player 22. So the black player will gain a point and remain first player. Then we go to purchasing victory points. Well, starting with the black player, he will spend 5 coins to gain 7. The red player only has 1 coin, so they will just go ahead and spend that to gain 1 victory point. Because remember, 5 for 7 is the most you can earn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The red player earns 1. So the black player is now in the lead with 26. Remember, if someone reaches the 30-point marker, the game instantly ends. Or if someone conquers another player's city. But that is the standings at this point. So the last part of this phase here, which is the prestige step, buying victory points. The last step is to earn 2 points for each of the papal lands you own, and black controls both. 1, 2, 3, 4. The game immediately ends, and the black player is declared the winner. If I had been playing better, especially with the red player, I probably would have moved both units into that region to attack it, one after the other, to prevent that. But there you go. That is a 2-player game of Ventura. Okay, wow, that was quick. What do I think about this game? I've got really mixed emotions about this game. I knew nothing about it, had no expectations going into it. But like I said, during the holiday sale, I was looking at purchasing some games, and I noticed Fantasy Flight had some of the games I was interested in getting, like Android, and on sale. And so I decided to go through them, and I saw this on there, and it's like, that's interesting. Some kind of light war game. Thought I'd take a chance on it. Box is huge. It's almost 2 times the size it needs to be, which it's fine, I guess. And I knew it came with all kinds of little pieces, and I'm thinking, oh wow, this is gonna be neat. It's gonna be a really in-depth war game, and you're gonna be controlling several armies. And the game was so quick. I did not expect it to be over that fast. I really do think they missed out by putting labels in each of the banners for the different phases of the game, and then possibly even right here putting text for the actual name of the step of that phase, because some cards specifically are played during that step or phase of the game. Because, for instance, this phase is broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, and this one is in 2, and then these are each just 1. So that was strange. I also think this is really strange. Okay, they give the person in last place 1 victory point just to kind of keep the game moving in case the game stalls. And they give you a chance to purchase some victory points. Lots of games do that. I've seen that. It's not a huge deal. But it is not hard to earn 5 income, especially early in the game. So this just became a race. Let's get a little bit of land out, get some money, and just bam, 7 points each time. That's 3 rounds. That's 21 points. So, you know, I don't know. 4 rounds, the game is over, definitely. I think I would limit that. If I were to play this again with multiple people, I may limit that to, you still have to pay the coin cost, but you're limited to the number of army units you have on the board. Not necessarily armies, but because large ones are armies, small ones are companies. But your knights and your lions that are on the board, for instance, your garrison unit, you would only, if that was the only thing on the board, you could only earn 1 extra. If you had 5, then you could do 5. It might add a new dynamic to the game. I don't know, because it's supposed to be a light war game, and I barely touched this deck. I barely touched this stack, and the game was over. I was not expecting that. I don't know about that. That's kind of strange. That really speeds the game up. But it's pretty neat. I like it's got a lot of iconography, and at first it seems like the game is going to be super complicated, and it's not. It's a very light war-like game. It's not exactly war, but it is kind of like a combat type game. Adjust some of the scoring with the victory points, or just limit it to say 3 for 4. Even that would give you a couple more rounds, let you get some larger armies up to really do some battles with people and stuff. And I could see this being a pretty cool game. I'd like to try it for even 4 players. The board would be spread out, and there's always going to be that one player. They're way over there. You're never going to be in conflict with them, but you know, you might have conflict with 2 other people. Then you'd be a little more scared about going and attacking them, because then you'll just be turned right around and attacked by the 3rd player. So that would be interesting. These are really flimsy as far as the quality, but that's not a big deal. They do their job well. The iconography of what you do during that step, once you play around, it makes perfect sense. This works well. This is a nice player aid. Very nice. Well done. Like I said, the only nitpick is to label each phase for the cards that go with it. The cards are pretty cool. The Conscripts deck is supposed to have units in it too. For instance, here is let's see, Force March. Here's a rear guard. Okay. There's city guards, poachers, they're farmers, and a lot of these units in here have deployment restrictions. So let's see, for instance, the farmers, During the mobilization phase, they can only be deployed into fields and hills. So you don't actually start them off in your city. You just, boop, there you go. You got a small unit defending that field or city until the big units get there. Or you can, if you already have an army unit there and you have an empty slot, then you could slide them in. I guess you could use them as fodder, but that's kind of mean. But yeah, so I never got to any of those. Didn't hardly get through the Ventura deck. So I think with a small minor rule change on the victory points, this game could be pretty cool. It's not perfect by any means. It's not a great strategic war game. There is some strategy, especially if you have a large 5-card army going against another 5-card company army. What order you want to put them in and stuff. But usually you're just going to whatever gives you the best bonus benefit in that ranged round is what you're going to put first and what you're willing to give up. Some things we didn't get into. For instance, if this unit were to be destroyed, they cannot captain if there's nothing to captain. They are not discarded. They are removed from the game. It's like they died in combat. They are gone. You can always train more horses, but this exact particular person is gone. Also, if you decide to not pay for the garrison unit during your upkeep round, this is not discarded because it has a different back. So it's gone. It's gone out of the game. But you could choose to not pay for your garrison, but then you leave your home castle unprotected. I guess if you wanted, you could even, if you wanted a longer, more intense game, you could even do away with the whole victory point thing and say, all right, we're going to see who can take over the other one's castle, and it's just go so many rounds, and then at the end of the round, see who controls the most territories or whatever. You could even do that. The game is simple enough that you can teach it to anyone that's played any kind of strategy board games or anything like that likes light combat, light strategy, light decision making. I think it's pretty cool. Considering the fact that I paid $10 for it, I have no regrets at all. It's a pretty cool game. I am excited to try and get this on the table and play it with other people. So, thanks for watching. If anything you've seen here makes you decide to maybe add it to one of your order lists, to fill out an order to get that free shipping or whatever, leave me a comment, please. Put a comment down in the comment section. When you order it from your local company or whatever, give them a comment that you saw it on RatherBeBoardGaming on YouTube and decided to give it a try for yourself. Love that. That would be great. Also, if you'd like, leave a comment in the section. If there's a game that is similar to this, as far as the light combat and the complexity, and you'd like to share that with other people who might be interested, say, hey, if you like this, here's one that's maybe a little bit easier to find in a store, or has a little bit cooler system or something. Yeah, leave that in the comment too. But anyway, I'm just glad that got to get this out and check it out. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and come back again real soon for more playthroughs and DIYs.